You are listening to It's Electric, and my guest is Noel Gallagher. That was cool last night.
It was good. Yeah.
There was a lot of people on stage.
There's 11, 12 maybe at one point.
All of those guys travel with you, even the horn guys in the back?
The main band is 8 of us, 5 band and 3 girls.
But when you're making the record, you got your songs, you're going through that whole process. Do you ever at any point kind of think ahead, how is this going to work live, or do you keep them completely separate entities?
When we were in Oasis, yeah, because you're going to be playing stadiums, and I think for better or for worse, you tailor your sound. So I'm sure it's the same for you guys for the environment that you play in. With this now, like once you've been in a stadium band, it's kind of I don't want to do that anymore. You know? So I make the record first, and then decide who's going to come on the road. What's interesting about the band at the minute is now I'm thinking about another record. I'm actually thinking, how am I going to incorporate all these people into it? Because it's a pretty tight unit already.
So standing there, especially when you're playing a couple of those Oasis songs, you're singing like really high. We talked about this briefly last night. What's the difference between sort of, the Noel Gallagher songs from the last 3 records? You wrote them for your voice and so on. When you go back and sing those Oasis songs, you sit there and go, "F***ing hell, I should have written this a half step lower." Or
no,
is there any of that kind of stuff?
The main difference is I don't really think about the technicalities of the song or anything like that. The main difference is all the guys start doing this. So that's the main difference. Whereas with the new stuff, it's more for the ladies. I think in the terms of singing, I think my voice is getting stronger, if anything. Do you know what I mean? And you can cheat it a little bit with a capo here and there. And some songs, funnily enough, if I'm doing a song that Liam has sang and it like Go Let It Out, for instance, I have to step it up as opposed to step it down because I've got a different kind of range.
Do you think when you're playing your Noel Gallagher songs versus your Oasis songs, which obviously, for argument's sake, are the same songs, but is there still a conscious difference between this is of High Flying Birds and this is an Oasis song? I mean, is there, when you put the set list together, do you kind of sit there and go, we'll do 4 of them, we'll do 3 of them, but I definitely don't want to do 5?
Well, when I first started, I used to do 20 songs and 12 of them were Oasis songs, and that's because that's just pure necessity. And the next tour, it was
you get more and more of your own songs.
Yeah, so now it's down to 5. The only conscious thing that I would do with the real kind of, because people take those songs, I mean, they're part of people's lives, particularly in England. I wouldn't have Charlotte play the scissors on an Oasis song, for instance, because the girl, unfortunately, would get hate mail. I'm aware of what those songs mean to people, and we do them how people want to hear them, you know what I mean?
But what do they mean to you?
From what I do now, when I play Little by Little, I think, wow, it sounds like heavy rock, you know what I mean? It sounds like, to me, I think, wow, I couldn't do that rock thing now. But they mean the world to me, everything.
So it's not like you're playing this fucking hell, now I got to play these Oasis songs and disdain.
Those songs got me to where I am now. And I wouldn't be that arrogant as to go out and not perform at least 5 or 6, I like those songs anyway.
In our case, when we play these songs that are 30 years old, I mean, they're our fucking songs, so we arrange them, we take out, this bit doesn't play as well as it did 10 or 20 years ago, so we just take out the middle bit, what were we thinking kind of thing, and then, the chorus at the end, that's really cool live, so let's double it. So they're sort of living, breathing entities that continue to evolve. Yeah. I guess I feel, Wonderwall last night, obviously, it's the same lyric, and it's the same melody, but it's a completely different song.
Yeah. It's difficult to explain to people who are not in it for more than 20 years, because once you're in the thing for 20 years, you start to get older and the songs start to mean different things to you, and you start to interpret them differently. And as you evolve as a person and as a songwriter, then your perception of what's gone before you will evolve as well, So I just try and do what feels right. And if I ever feel like I'm forcing something, then that's when I know it's not right. If it's coming naturally and it sounds completely different, great. If it's coming naturally and it sounds exactly the same as it did in 1994, then great as well. But if I'm struggling with it, I'll just do something else.
Do you think there's a chance that, like, I don't know, if I had a gun, like 20 years from now, we'll go through the same sort of morphs as, say, Wonderwall has done in the last 20 years?
It could do. I don't know. That's the beauty of it all. We don't know. You know what I mean? When I do it acoustically, it's way slower and a bit more plaintive.
That's also the beauty of making the decisions yourself. You don't have to put it out to the collective.
Yeah. Sure. Well, that's it. It's you kind of, you're pleasing yourself ultimately at all times, and you're not really worried about what anybody else is thinking.
Do you prefer this type of? I mean, we're not going to get into all the drama and all the bullshit. I'm just more interested in: are you more comfortable just doing my own thing? I don't have anybody to.
Yeah. Well, I remember. I think it was the day after I left Oasis. I got a text from the drummer from Metallica.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He has your number.
Yeah, he does, and he said to me, words to the effect of, "You're either incredibly brave or incredibly fucking stupid." That's what he meant by the text. And I texted my mate from Metallica back and said, "I think it's going to be all right. I think it's going to be all right."
It's turned out more than all right.
Yeah, and I'm really, really happy about what we did in the past. But I'm really fucking happy where I am now. It's so calm, and you can get 3 girls in the band and just take them on the road, and that's it. And that's it. You've only got to please yourself. So I'm really, really pleased with where I am now.
Back in the day, when you used to write, was it more like, I'm having a coffee and there's my acoustic guitar on the couch and I just pick it up and start strumming? Or would you sort of go into a room or clock in and out, or I'm going to go lock myself away in the basement or that kind of shit?
I have to tell you a funny story, and my wife won't thank me for this, but this is like 5, 6, 7 years ago. We go to buy this house, right? And we're stood in the back garden, and the estate agent is saying, and of course, down the bottom, we have a 2-bedroom separate flat, for, whatever, if you kids have a nanny or something. And I was going, no, I can turn that into a creative space. My wife turned to me and she said, "What do you want one of them for?" And I said, "Well, to write songs." You know what she said to me? She said, "I've never seen you write any songs." And I was saying, "Yeah, but you do accept that songs get written, all right?" And she was saying, "Yeah, but I've never seen you do it. You don't even go to the studio. What the what? What do you want to play for?" And I was like, "I do it while I'm watching TV, while you're downstairs fucking cooking."
And those songs buy this fucking house. Right?
But so I'm writing while I'm not writing. Every time I've had to sit down and write a song, it's always ended up not being very good. But if I'm just I stockpile songs. When I'm at home, I'm noodling around every day, and then there'll be, there's always a dozen ideas on the go.
And you just like put them on your phone, or you have a little?
No, it's all up there. I'm a technophobe. I'm
so
useless.
It goes back to that thing. If it's good, if it's great, I'll
remember it.
Yeah, and if it's not, then it just dissipates.
Absolutely. There's no hard and fast rules to any of this. You know what I mean? There's no right way or wrong way of doing it. So the 4 guys in a room jamming it out eyeball to eyeball is the most exciting thing in the world.
Of course, yeah.
It's the most stressful thing in the world. It can, as you know, we've seen in the film, it can drive you to distraction. But it can also great happy accidents, you know what I mean? And then, the professional songwriter sitting in a shed writing songs for Adele and Ed Sheeran, great stuff can happen there. So there's no hard and fast rules to it.
So all that just lives in your head?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm afraid so, yeah.
Where do the lyrics fit into the? Is that the
lyrics come last? So the lyrics,
pen and paper, and the whole thing.
The good ones, the most memorable ones, you never write down. They just come, and you remember them in the morning, and you still. The lesser popular ones is pen and paper, but the melodies and the chords, I don't put them to tape until I'm recording it, and then the words will come. I'll have a fair idea of what half the first verse is and a bit of the chorus, and then it's just a case of, getting in a quiet room and then kind of nailing it, really. I
mean, it's the same in our world. I mean, we do all the music first, and the lyrics is literally like, I'm going to sing on Tuesday, so Monday night, he's sitting there scribbling and doing all that.
But don't you find that if people who write the words first and then put it to music, I mean, I cannot grasp.
But it also it also puts the lyrics. It's like you're forcing the words into a melody, and it's like if you have the melody first, like what we do is, first the music, then the melody,
Yeah.
and the last thing are the words.
Yeah.
And there's like he'll actually like write out the syllables. It'll be like 7 lines on a piece of paper, and then you fit in the words.
Yeah, yeah.
From what I could see about our process, that's what separates us a lot from the people we get lumped in with, because a lot of those dudes, they'll write the words first,
Right.
and then the lyrics become this kind of clunky, forced thing where it's like trying to tell a story, and at the end of the day, it's the fucking melody that's the most important. What the word is secondary.
Absolutely.
I mean,
all my favorite songs of all time, I couldn't give a shit what the lyrics are. I couldn't give a flying what any of them are singing about at all. It means nothing to me.
Right.
They're just words that you sing to service the melody that makes you feel good. That's it. I couldn't care less.
Well, I'm from Denmark, obviously, as you know, and we're both Europeans, and L.A. is such a strange place. We made 2 records here back in the day, and what relationship have you had with LA?
We made an Oasis record here, and then I made my first solo record here.
Right.
And it's a great place to work. I'm not sure about living here, but it's a good place to work, that's for sure. If you're getting up every morning and going into Capitol Studios, I mean, you're living the dream, you know what I mean?
But do you have the kind of I go out to Santa Monica and stick my toes in the water, and
No, I can't swim.
You can't swim.
No, I can't swim.
Okay.
No, swimming's for idiots. We're not supposed to be in there.
Okay.
Why do you think they invented jet skis?
All right. So if we're ever in a pool together, I'll keep an eye on you.
I kind of feel pretty embarrassed about not being able to swim. I mean, I can swim. I'm just not. I don't like.
Well, hang on a second. Wait a minute. We've had like Ibiza conversations and all that stuff.
I could save my life. Right, I couldn't save anyone else's. And when Sarah gets in a swimming pool and she dives in, it's like the water's like glass and it's graceful. When I get in, there's fucking shit everywhere. There's more water outside the pool than that's in it, and it looks like there's an alligator fighting a fucking tiger in a bath. And it's just not for me, But I used to feel really bad. Until we was on holiday, we're friends with Jade Jagger, who's Mick's daughter, and the subject of swimming came up, and Sarah was trying to embarrass me. He can't swim, and she said, "Oh, my dad hates fucking water. He's never in the water." And I was like, "Well,
there you go. If
if
Mick Jagger can't do it, I don't.
Me and Mick Jagger will be sat on the side paddling their little feet like that."
We started in L.A. We were here for 2 years, and I mean, we couldn't.
Did you live here? What did you?
Well, when I came from Denmark, I landed in Newport Beach, so I grew up doing this whole tennis thing, and so my dream was to follow in my father's footsteps, and so I had a very close friend down in Newport Beach, and I was going to go, and he was sort of the main tennis player at this high school. And so I was going to go and be on that team. This was the best tennis playing high school in California. And I was going to go there and rock that. And so we came over, moved to Newport Beach, is like full of like, kids in pink Lacoste t-shirts and all that kind of stuff. Coming from Denmark and that kind of liberal upbringing, that was a bit of a mind fuck. And I just started really getting into a lot of the harder rock stuff that was happening in England. But anyway, here I am. I'm going to play tennis. And so the tryouts for the tennis team is in February of that school year. And in Denmark, I was ranked one of the top 10 tennis players in each age group in the whole fucking country. In the there's 5 million people. It's not you may be ranked in the top 20, but
I wouldn't have thought so. Somehow.
Maybe 30,
maybe 200.
So there I am, somewhat significant in Denmark, coming from this Danish tennis playing royalty kind of whole thing, and I'm not one of the best tennis players on the street that I live on in Newport Beach. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was like a total mind. I didn't make. There was 7 kids picked out for the high school team,
right?
At Cornel del Mar High School, and I wasn't one of the 7. So basically, that weekend it all went to shit. And then I was like, well, Rock was there, and let's play some drums and meet some people and all that stuff. And then we started the band within a couple of months. And then we started playing up in, the Whiskey and the Roxy and all those places. All of us, I think, really felt that being in a band was something that gave us an identity and something to belong to, what I mean?
I still maintain that it's one of the greatest moments of your life when people say, what do you do? And you say, well, I'm in a band.
That's the coolest.
I mean, it's over. See you later. Oh, really? What's your band? And then it goes from there.
And everybody that gets to say that, I get to say I'm in Metallica. The guy you were just talking about swimming with, he gets to say, I'm the lead singer in the Rolling Stones. I mean, how cool is that?
Well, it doesn't get any cooler than that.
And you've always been very generous in your compliments about some of the stuff that we do in Metallica and so on.
Absolutely, yeah.
And even the first time I met you.
And the Sandman.
The first time I met you, which I don't know if you remember, but at the Fillmore in San Francisco.
How could I forget?
We were there, and Bob Rock, our producer, we were making some record. I think we were making one of the Load records, and we went down. We just heard about you guys, and we went and saw you at the Fillmore, and you come out. The first thing you said, you walked up to the mic and you go, this is a song called Rock and Roll Star, and it's about me. I was like, that's kind of cool. It's different.
And he was going, can you sign this for me? I didn't actually see him at first, right? I'm kind of sat doing that.
Bob Rock. That was Bob Rock had an Oasis poster.
That's right. And I'm trying to say, who do I make it out to? And someone says, Lars from Metallica. And I went,
yeah. And you know what's great?
Oh, there he is.
And you know what's cool?
You still got it?
We have that poster at our HQ, at our building. And you know what's really funny? How do you spell Metallica?
Okay. No idea. Is that what I put on it?
Oh, there's one T too many in Metallica. And then afterwards we said hello, and you said Nothing Else Matters and Enter Sandman were all songs that you dug over.
Yeah.
Speaking of other music, one thing which you and I talk often about when we see each other is that we're both card-carrying members of the U2 fan club. And Bono, and the whole creative process and everything that they do. You've been on tour with them a couple of times, and you're kind of getting in there. Tell me about your relationship with not just being on tour and we're hanging out, talk about private planes and all the rest of that, but
they take it to the next level. Those
but
guys,
that they do. But just the music and what they represent to you.
Well, I mean, I've been a fan since their second album. They are by far and away my favourite live band ever. They've evolved many times. They've gone back and forward and sideways and upside down and fucking all sorts. And still, there'll be something on a record. Might be one song, could be two, could be four, where you just go, fuck.
The bar just got raised.
Yeah, like this new record they've got out now, that song, The Showman. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
Was there anything specifically that you've learned from U2 or taken from them that is significant in what you do?
The pride that they have in doing it, and they don't take it for granted. They don't just turn up and go through the numbers and see you later. They never give up on an idea. I've been in the studio with them where they'll chase a fucking idea around for weeks.
8 choruses.
Yeah, for weeks. And, they'll kind of get it, They're just really good friends. They've some of my favourite songs that I've ever heard are by them. Some of the
such as
Where the Streets Have No Name, right?
Yeah.
So with I think the first night of the tour I did with them, where the night before there's the sound check thing, and they're sound checking Where the Streets Have No Name, and it's still in an empty stadium. When that thing kicks in is one of the greatest moments in live music. Yeah. And you're there, and there's just people pushing shit around and scaffolding and all this kind of thing, and you're still going, fuck,
That's crazy.
But people don't have the love for them that we do, right? I kind of give up defending them in England. I'm like, I don't give a fuck what you think about them anymore. I don't fucking care. All my friends that I got to come on the tour are now U2 fans, because they're like, well, we don't really ask about seeing U2. We'll just come and see you. And then it's like, no, stay for a bit. And now they're like, fucking hell, when are they touring again? It's like, well, people get it or you don't get it.
Lastly, and I've made no secret of this over the years. I mean, obviously you've been a significant role in your attitude in the last 20 years of my life. And so in my world, we sort of talk about Noel Gallagher not just as a person, but also as a position. So
as a position?
As a position. So my last question to you before you go off out of here, Who's the Noel Gallagher in your life?
Paul Weller. Paul Weller, who is, I don't tell him often enough because, again, he's my neighbour. I've known him for such a long time. But honestly, when I look at him, he's fucking in it for the only pure reasons. He's in it for the music and the gigs and the clothes, and he wants to be he wants to be the guy, you know what I mean?
Right.
He's such an inspiring dude. When I'm in the studio with him, either working on his stuff or my stuff, it's a lesson in free expression. He's been a constant in my life since 1979. He's a fucking dude.
Yeah, I have to say that one of the coolest things that you've ever done, and I've watched this, the White Room the other day, when you guys do...
Talk Tonight.
We do a couple songs, and then it's just you and him at the end doing Talk Tonight, and he's on the keys and doing the backup vocals, singing that high harmony in the chorus. It's fucking... It's such a moment.
He's a dude.
Awesome.
He's a dude.
Noel,
thank you very much.
Thank you very much. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, always is. Always is. Thank you very much for having me.